So good morning to you. I think we can get rid of the countdown now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this, what is it? It's Wednesday. It's a Wednesday edition. I need to adjust my camera. I hope you'll bear with me here as I'm not only the cameraman, the director, I'm all of these things I'm in charge of, which is probably not a good thing for Dan to be in charge of all those things. Again, good morning to you. From my house to your house, I always say it and I always mean it. I appreciate your time. It's the most valuable currency we have. And for you to share and give me some of your time, much appreciated. And I hope you feel the same way. I'm glad to share mine with you and the community that we have created over the last couple of months here on Dan's At Home Update. All of you know, jump in this morning if you want to. If you've got something you want to talk about, something you have a question, a comment, a thought. It's just like any other Facebook page. You just go and post your comment, and then I can see your comments. I do. I see them when they're coming in, for example. See, there's Paul. I see her. Good morning to you as well. Marie's here this morning. Tabitha Marks is here. Camilla's here. Good morning, everyone from Orangefield. You can be specific. Peggy, good morning to you. Hi, Mary. Also this morning, Teresa is up with us. Bridget, good morning. P&G first day. I'm worried. I think it's okay, though, Bridget. I think it's okay to have a little anxiety going in. I think that's absolutely normal, don't you? For those who are not familiar, unlike many districts, Port Neches Groves made the decision, and they made it pretty early, that they were going to do in-classroom only, that they were not going to do, any of the remote or distance learning or online learning, that they were just going to go straight into the classroom. So I'm sure that's why she's expressing the fact. Carlene Pardue, Needleland people, say hi or say hey. James Nash. I said this, it's been a long time ago that we talked about this, but it's also, these comment sections, it's a good way for you to connect. Do you remember we had somebody who joined us who said, I'm really lonely. It's not easy being a senior citizen, being by yourself, feeling nervous, scared about what's going on, didn't know who to reach out to, and suddenly we could connect her with other people who it could be as simple as checking in. Every once in a while to say, are you okay? Are things going on? It's amazing how much impact you can make in a day simply by being kind, courteous, and thoughtful. I know, it's so outdated, this concept. It's really not. I'm sorry, but I want to believe that the majority of people still think that way, don't you? That, there's still something to be said for civility, for courtesy, for, common decency. I think so. Good morning. Suzanne Block says, good morning. It's Wednesday. Hope your morning is going good. My morning's going good. My morning is well underway. I've already been to work, helped someone get online for school, and now I'm talking to you. Doesn't get much better than that. Hey, Gay, I'm doing good this morning. I hope that you are too. David McPeak, good to see you on the live stream with us this morning. Sonia is here. Molly has gotten up with us this morning. Cherry is here this morning. And Patricia Kemp says, think positive and looking for the best. Now, that's a good way to attack the day. I struggle with that. I'm good when I start. Then as the day goes on, you find things to get, just kind of whiny about. And then perspective comes in and I realize how good I got it. Really, how good most of us have it. No matter what you're standing in America, do you realize how much better you are than so many people on this planet? I saw a very interesting documentary the other day about $1 a day. How many millions of people on this planet that we share with so many other people live on $1 a day. $1. All right, we've got a lot to do this morning. We're going to jump into the headlines for you. We're going to talk about what's going on in our schools. We'll get a look at the latest numbers. And then we'll finish things up with a light idea this morning from the folks at Netflix and what they're doing over there. Always encourage you, if you don't mind, give us a like, a follow. All you got to do is, the little blue circle with a thumb. That's great. Just kind of lets me know, hey, I'm here. I'm with you. I'm following along with you this morning. Also, of course, a follow. And we usually do this at the end, but I do want to show that there are a variety of different ways that you can catch up with our at-home broadcast. Of course, you're doing it here on the KFDM News Facebook page. You can also do it Morning TV Dan, and you can subscribe to Dan's At Home on YouTube. And by tomorrow, we should be up and live on YouTube and probably also on LinkedIn. And we'll hope to have an additional Facebook page that you can go to as well and catch up with the at-home updates. Hope that that helps you out a little bit this morning. So again, continue to post up this morning. We'll continue to check on your comments. But coming up next, we're going to get you a look at what's happening in your headlines. So do you have the kids off and running this morning? Maybe grandkids, as it plays out in my house in particular. We have grandkids who are homeschooling, kids who are also learning online. A number of districts are going back today. Somebody mentioned P&G going back. Others have been going for a couple of weeks now, and some are just getting started, and some haven't even started yet. So it seems as though there was a period of time, when everybody seemed to go back within the same day or so. Now they seem to be a little bit more spread out. All right, let's jump into it this morning. As always, we want to get you caught up on what's happening in the headlines. And again, the reminder, this is a much more casual approach to what's happening in the headlines than it is in a formal news show, because this is at the house, my house. So we do things a little bit more casual here. Hurricane season is going on. I know it says it right there on the banner on the page. Just a reminder, if you didn't check in with Dana this morning on the morning show, we have 3 tropical waves that they are watching. 3. So the odds, to my way of thinking, would be 1 out of 3 makes it as far as the Gulf. I mean, it's not always true, but you just kind of can't help but think that would be the case, that maybe 1 out of those 3 would get there. But certainly worth paying attention to, especially over the next several days. Let's start off a couple of stories that are non-COVID related stories this morning. First of all, over in Orange County, a lot of people don't realize that interagency, when it comes to police work, happens all the time. If a person is arrested in a city and the city does not run a jail, where do they go? They usually go to the county lockup. So there you have it. Agencies that are working with each other and going into different buildings. So Orange County Sheriff Jimmy Lane Mooney has banned 4 Orange Police Department officers from his jail. He says they were caught on video using a county computer to alter legal documents, and he says it might jeopardize pending criminal cases. He thinks it's sour grapes, the sheriff does. And if you recall, the race for Orange County, pretty bitterly contested. Mooney came out on top. He tells us the 4 officers supported his opponent. He says it appears that they're not over it. He accuses them of tampering with a government record to make him look bad. Don't expect any charges to come out of this. The sheriff said so himself. You can go and read this story if you want to in its entirety. Again, that's at kfdm.com, or you can also watch Angel San Juan's story and let it play out for you there. Other headlines this morning worth noting, again, non-COVID related stories. Absentee voting in Jefferson County will be possible. A lot of people think, oh, well, we have early voting, so you don't have absentee. Those are 2 different things. Many of you, I'm assuming, if you grew up in Texas, you knew that absentee, the only way that you could vote without going on election day was called absentee voting. Well, then probably more than a decade ago, we added early voting. And you didn't have to qualify. There was nothing you had to do. You didn't have to say, I'm out of town. You didn't say, I'm sick. You didn't have to have a reason. You just go and vote. Well, absentee voting is different. If you want to vote by mail in the state of Texas, then you have to actually request a ballot. And to request the ballot, you have to qualify. And the best way, I can give you the qualification: over 65, must be a failing health, must live out of the county. But the best thing you could do is probably just go to the Jefferson County website. Just go to the Jefferson County website, and it has everything involved there. Now, if you're in Orange County, Chambers County, Hardin County, Tyler County, obviously, you want to go to the website in your county if you want to find out that you want to vote. And you're probably hearing more about this than you've ever heard, or at least what you've heard in the last 15 years, because suddenly the post office is involved with this, and it's a national story with the president saying that he feels like mail-in votes are, possible grounds for fraudulent action. Other people saying, including folks at the USPS saying, hey, we handle billions of pieces of mail every year. We handle postcards on the holidays. We think that we can handle mail-in ballots. But it's an interesting story for a lot of reasons. So if you want to know more, you can, again, go to the website, look for Postal Service absentee ballots, and that will help you get through that. Also this morning, the governor of Texas kind of taking some heat this morning, talking about any city that defunds a police department should have its property taxes frozen. Made that announcement yesterday at a news conference. He is urging the legislature to take up the proposal during the next session. Now, this very well could be coming from the fact that the city of Austin, in fact, he said it, has just made a decision to move $150 million from the police department's budget into other areas. And again, in the news conference, the governor says there's a very good chance, that if this happens in your city, that you decide to make this move, that we're going to try to freeze the property tax and lose the ability to increase property taxes. Story that you might want to go check on again. Now, let's turn from that to some COVID-19 related stories. First of all, and you can go search for this, but we had 4 additional deaths reported in Jefferson County, 4 additional deaths reported overnight. So that increases those numbers. You can also go back over to the website. Let's do that. And you can see we have a number of COVID-19 related stories here. One of them is, and this should be of concern to people if you have kids who are playing sports, because a lot of cardiologists across the country are talking about myocarditis, which is apparently a heart ailment that can happen if a young athlete gets the virus. And it can create heart failure, abnormal heartbeat, and sudden death. So that's another concern that's being expressed by cardiologists. Also this morning, we mentioned a number of schools. Evadale is closed again today, Evadale ISD, for the second day in a row, because they say they are continuing to deep clean following one positive student in their system. Meanwhile, P&G, as we mentioned, opening today, reporting that they had 8 staff members, including teachers, in quarantine after one of them tested positive. Apparently, the 8 of them went out for lunch one day, and one of them came down with COVID-19. So the other 7 now are having to quarantine and can't go into school. So I'm sure that's creating a problem. How do you manage? Suddenly you've got to juggle classes and teachers, and the superintendent there saying, this could have been prevented. And he hopes that it is a lesson and that people will learn from this to follow the rules that they are setting up for a reason. There's the Evadale story there as well. Now, I wanted to move from this over to the Houston Chronicle, because this is an interesting story by Rebecca Hennis, talking about schools and what happens when schools have cases of COVID-19, because this is going to happen. Is it even possible to have that many people together and not have it? Now, the effects of the virus on people vary depending upon age, depending upon, pre-existing. There are a lot of things that can factor into that. But according to this, area schools in Houston, like schools here in Southeast Texas, opting to start school with in-person instruction, are going to have to follow some guidelines. That's why you're seeing places like Evadale who suddenly have to shut down, right? If you follow this, schools have to report any positive COVID-19 cases to their local health department. And then they have to close off areas for disinfecting where COVID-19 positive individuals were in class. They have to notify all teachers, staff, families of students in the positive case. In other words, you're trying to do contact tracing inside the school, because you can say, okay, if we have a case, we're going to shut down. And if you say we're going to shut down and we're going to clean the school, have you really attacked the problem thoroughly? Because what does that have to do with cleaning the school with the people who came in contact with the person who was infected? You can clean the school to your heart's content, right? I mean, and you probably have to, and you need to sanitize it. But for those who have already been exposed, they've already been exposed. I'm not sure, how much that, but my point being that there are guidelines out there that have to be followed by the Texas Education Agency. And I think that, as this goes on, you're probably going to see more and more schools. It's interesting because let me take you back to the same article in the Chronicle, because what they're doing is they're keeping up with all the different districts who have had. There's Galveston, Humble, Wood Creek Middle School, Timbers Elementary School, and the list goes on. Maplebrook. They've all had reports of students coming back with positive tests. And of course, we also saw yesterday North Carolina, University of North Carolina, and then late yesterday, early this morning, Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame University, whichever you want to call it, deciding that they were going to go online for 2 weeks because they've had over 100 reports. In North Carolina, at Chapel Hill, they had more than 300. But they also have a lot of angry people who said, we did what we were told to do. We wore masks, we social distanced, we stayed to ourselves. Unfortunately, they were those who didn't, those who decided they were going to go to Greek parties, those who decided that they were going to go to pool parties, back to school, being a student, they were going to live the life. And unfortunately, in today's times, you live the life, you take the risk. Again, not everyone who gets coronavirus gets sick. Asymptomatic is a big part of it. And if you were 22 years old, I can see where you'd probably feel bulletproof a lot more so than somebody who was 62, right? Or 72, or for that matter, maybe 52. Let's check the numbers this morning. These are the numbers, again, from the Texas Tribune that we're seeing. We have 6,210 people in the hospital for coronavirus as of yesterday. That is down from where we had been. We have 7,282 new cases reported, but we also are hearing fewer and fewer tests are being taken. Here's the significant number to me of the day. 10,250 of your fellow Texans have died as of August the 18th. That's 216 more from the day before and 1,540 more than the week ago. But the headline says it all. Texas has averaged more than 200 COVID-19 deaths a day for almost 3 weeks. The other thing that should be noted is that a good number of these deaths, while they may be in the hospital, are also people who have been in assisted living, who have been in nursing homes, and of course, as we always feel compelled to say, had pre-existing conditions. But they still died from the virus. The virus was one of those things that pushed them to that point that they passed away. All right, so those are your numbers for the day. Let's go back and catch up on some different comments this morning. Lillian Brown says, good morning. Good morning to you. Rachel Marshall, good things. How's the tropics? Missed the news this morning. Rachel, Shame on you. The tropics are active. We have 3 different waves. 2 of them are being tracked right now that look like they have the potential at some point to turn tropical. Doesn't mean it's an issue for us, just means they can turn tropical. Hi, Carol. Glad you're watching there in Elkhart. Lillian Brown, every place has sour grapes. Joe Lee, good morning, everyone from Vider. Hope everyone has a great day and safe travels. Same to you, Joe. Also this morning, Lillian Brown says, who won the Bucky gift? I don't know that we were giving away. We were just talking about Buc-ee's yesterday. We were talking about the top snacks that you could buy at Buc-ee's, according to the guy who is the culinary expert at Buc-ee's. Carol, good morning to you. Also this morning, I'm reading these things because I'm getting some very long posts this morning, and I'm trying to edit before I put them on because I don't want to put something on and it be something that I can't verify. So we'll continue to try to do that. Suzanne Block, yes, they get lost in the mail. Not good voting. Also, this morning, Tabitha Mark says, yes, just turn phone sideways, maybe. Obviously talking to somebody else. Pao says, it's not on my screen. Also, good morning, Dan. How are you and your family? We are good. Thank you for asking this morning. And Joanne Hollyfield asks, is Highway 73 open? We had a crash this morning. Highway 73 at 9th Avenue, Twin City Highway, westbound, shut down. It was a fatal accident. Shut down not only 73, all the lanes westbound, but the feeder road. And to answer your question, Joanne, I don't know. I'm not at the station. I haven't checked. Might be something that you want to go on to KFDM.com. They should be updating that throughout the morning. And Jody Sullivan is also with us this morning. Jody, thanks for taking the time. I do appreciate it. All right, so we kind of got you caught up on what's happening. You know the drill. I'm never going to spend a whole lot of time going over every single story because that's your job. My job is to put it in front of you. Your job is to do the heavy lifting. Your job is to go and do the reading. Your job, all of our jobs as consumers is to consume and to be good consumers. So I'm going to let you do that. But now you know some of the places you want to start, some of the stories you want to look at. Always like to end, if we possibly can, on a positive note, or at least something light, something that's a little bit away from the heavy stuff that is everyday part of our life. So this morning, is there anything that we've done more of since this pandemic started for the average person than watch television? I mean, sure, you probably read a book. Sure, you probably sit around with your family, you have discussions. But let's face it, a lot of it comes down to being entertained. And one of the easiest ways to entertain yourself is to sit down and, let it just come to your face, through your eyes and into your brain. And we do that by watching television. So I was interested and intrigued by the story this morning that Netflix says that they're going to create what's called a shuffle play option that decides for you what you're going to watch next. Now, this is nothing new. The idea of shuffling, and how to make things come up randomly. We've been doing this since iPods, right? Because you put it on shuffle and just let it choose the music for you, and it just keeps playing, and you don't have to choose anything. So that concept's, but Netflix is testing out the feature, would do the same thing. And they're going to use analytics on you. They're going to take what you've been doing and what you've been watching, and they're going to say, oh, he likes Westerns. Oh, she likes dramas. Oh, you like those British shows. Whatever you tend to find yourself going to, they're going to take that and then they're going to build a playlist for you. And not everybody apparently is going to see this. It says that it's going to be limited. They're going to put it on some people's. It'll be below the user profile selections. It's just like Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Do you want just go ahead and give me something? You pick it for me? I'm not sure. To me, it's like, okay, you're removing me from the process again. I should be actively making decisions here, But I'm just gonna veg out in my chair, and you do it for me because I don't know. But I think there is a bit of fatigue to some degree from choice fatigue, remote fatigue. Honey, what do you want to watch? I don't know. What do you want? It's kind of like when you want to go out to eat. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? What do you want to watch? I don't know. What do you want to watch? So I guess that could take some of that away. The anxiety of what are we going to watch? Tough life. All right. So that pretty much wraps it up for us today. We have done our time. Appreciate yours. Want to remind you, reach out to somebody today. It's an easy thing to do. A random act of kindness. Just say hello. It's a little bit harder to greet somebody these days wearing masks, because you cover up so much. It's just the eyes. They say the eyes are you don't have any choice anymore. You can't look at somebody smile, so the reaction's a little bit tougher. But anyway, reach out today, make that phone call. Somebody that that is home, hasn't had any conversation for a while, and it's easy. I know. There are people that you're like, oh, if I engage this person, I'm going to be on the phone with them for 20 minutes. Small price to pay to make a change, to make an improvement in somebody's life, right? All right, so again, go out and do it. Be kind to others. We'll look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow morning. Also want to remind you, of course, coming up today at noon, Mr. Milossaw along with Tad Rafford on KFDM. Then coming up at 5:36. 9 and 10 o'clock, 4.5 hours live and local news still to come today on KFDM TV and KB TV. And then bright and early tomorrow morning, 4:30 a.m., we'll be back with Southeast Texas Most Watched Morning Show. Thank you again for joining us today. Here are again the list of ways that you can catch up on Dan's at-home updates. Facebook here at KFDM News. You can also follow us, Morning TV Dan, on Twitter. And our YouTube channel is Dan's at Home. You can subscribe and see these same broadcasts there. You go out and make it a terrific day. Hit me one more time with a like, if you will, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Till then, be safe.